Welcome to the Cynthia Nyamai Show. Now, what would you do if you woke up one morning and it's all black and you realize that you have lost your eyesight? Our guest today, at the peak of her life, her early 30s, just when she began to realize who she was and the direction that she wanted to take career-wise, she found herself blind. Her story is coming up shortly. Thank you so much, Eve Kibare, for joining us today. I watched your story, not interview, but it's you narrating your story.
Yeah.
And I learned so much. So that's why I was like, let me have you on the show.
Thank you.
I'd like others. Things I think I take for granted, I learned from you, Eve. But let's first start with you growing up. Where did you grow up? And what were your dreams?
Well, I grew up in Zimmerman, Nairobi, born and bred.
Yes.
My dreams, I was one of those confused
Yes.
children who didn't know exactly what they wanted to be.
Yeah.
There was a time, I think in class 1, I wanted to be a bus driver for Coastline.
Why? Because you wanted to go to Coast
No,
every other
it was such a gisty bus. It was not like the stagecoach.
Yes.
It was the eyes, the face, and then when the horn, this is it. Because at that time, my dad was working in Mombasa.
Yeah.
So whenever we'd go to Mombasa or coming back, Coastline was like now modern coast for now.
Yeah.
So you look at this bus, you're like, this guy, kwanza he's like the pro.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't gone on been on a plane before.
Yes, yeah.
So for me, this was like a plane.
Yeah.
Then I'm looking at this driver, I'm like, this guy is the G,
Yeah.
because he's on his own.
Yeah.
It didn't look like he's struggling. Then my dad laughed at that. My mom thought I was very defocused. But I was the smart kid.
Yeah.
So it was just more out of fun. Then at some point, I think now I was a fan of wrestling.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought it would be really cool to be Undertaker's wife. Because no one would mess
around with you. You'd always have your
you guys just dim out the lights and then you're all dead.
Yeah.
But anyway, being the smart kid, being the top student, it's like you're designed to work towards a certain way. Like your mind you're socialized to be in one particular or towards a particular profession.
Exactly.
Or towards particular professions.
Yeah.
So I remember in class 8, we had this thing called graduation day. I mean, is it graduation day, where you get to say, someone gets to talk about you. So in my school, it was called Harvest Day, Marion Farmhouse.
Yeah.
So someone says, you have to write what you want to become when you grow up. I said, I want to become a pediatrician because I wanted to work with kids. I loved kids.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, I'm a top student. Medicine would be such a bad thing to do. I'm good in math. So why not?
Yeah.
So I said, pediatrician.
Yeah.
Then I go to high school and I'm like, well, things are different.
Yeah.
So at the end of high school, I realized I was really pathetic in academics.
Yeah.
As in, I just dropped for some weird reason. I do not.
What changed now when you think about it?
I think I was in a school where everyone is a top student.
Yeah.
You've all been combined into one school.
Yeah.
The system is the same.
Yeah.
So I realized the education system in Kenya doesn't suit everybody, and the way my mind worked was not the way it was. It's not been forced to work differently.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm not a crammist. I don't know how to do cramming.
Yes.
I'm more of an understanding kind of person.
Yeah.
So teach me to understand, then I will flourish.
Yes. Yeah.
If I'm not understanding, that goes like that.
Yeah.
So here is high school. Everyone is like we are all a bunch of top students from all over the country, and you're being forced. A teacher comes and says, read on your own, ask me questions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I read it like a novel, and to me those were very big jargons, and I'm not understanding. So for a long time that wasn't working for me. Eventually I didn't really perform.
Yeah.
So towards the end of Form 4, I realized I am I had to go through my academic, and I'm like, okay, I'm so bad at this, and it's not because I'm not intelligent.
Yes.
It's just the system didn't suit me.
Yeah.
So I was good in languages and in history. So it's like, what would I do if these are my clusters?
Yeah.
So out goes medicine, out goes anything to do with big profession.
Yeah.
And I remember looking towards media and theater arts. So a teacher of our teachers would, our vice principal encouraged us to apply to schools abroad. And I was like, why not? Like, just take the opportunity. So when I was applying, I was going to schools that were offering media arts and theater arts, things to do with things that I know I can be really good at. So eventually, when we finished Form 4, I realized these things are not available here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do child psychology. We finished Form 4 and our results come out, and that was the worst year performed. So our grades have also been subtracted because there was a whole political thing about it. So I'm told I can't do child psychology because I have to bridge biology.
Yeah.
So now I have to change. I have to think of what do I like doing. So eventually I ended up doing mass communication.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, later on when you tell someone you're doing people who knew me from my childhood are wondering, why did you choose mass communication?
Yeah. You had the brains for something bigger.
And I'm like, well, I'm glad I failed because I got to choose what I want to do. I wasn't forced into a profession. I actually joined a profession that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
So I did mass communication and majored in TV production because I found TV production more intense and it has an array of opportunities. Yeah, so I ended up now doing TV production, and even now career-wise, I joined the film production industry.
And that's where I was coming fast forward last year.
Yeah.
And you lost your eyesight.
Yeah.
Yes. Take us through how did it start? Because you didn't lose it in one day.
No, I had headaches, I think from around, let me just say probably November, but they were in and out. They were not consecutive.
Yes.
So I'd have headaches. I'm like, hey, today I have a headache. But then it's because at that time, so many things were happening, I'm trying to make my business make sense. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to look for other gigs in communication. I was trying to build myself as a communication consultant.
Yes.
So that I can work with different, small businesses to maybe build them in a way, in brand marketing, doing their websites, just for people, because now I was dipped into agribusiness, youth in agribusiness, and I was even working with youth around the continent, and I realized what these people are lacking is making their businesses look like marketable or attractive, because most people look at farming as
it sort of feels like you had done so many things with your life, and then last year is when everything was coming together, and all the different things you had learned in the different industries were now coming together. But then you fell ill. So now at first I thought it was anxiety, so I never really put any kino. I was like, I'll take Maramoja, I'm good. And it actually worked. I go to bed, I'm like, it actually went. I wake up the next morning, I'm good. Now May comes in and there's COVID, and people are stressed already. I'm trying to make sure that I meet my rent. I meet my bills. So here I am, I'm waking up in the morning, I have a stiff neck. So even when I'm going downstairs, I have my neighbors downstairs who had a shop, they sell groceries and food. I'm like, I feel like my neck is stiff. And then they're like, labda ulilala vibaya. So I'm like, okay, fine, let's do this again tomorrow. So it lasted like a week, then it went away. So I was like, what was that? Is my body trying to tell me that I don't know how to sleep? And then I was doing a lot of, I was getting my body was becoming uncomfortable. You see, the way I'm seated right now, it was impossible to sit this long like this, because my shoulders would start feeling pain, and I'd start having muscle pulls, and my neck would start feeling stiff and painful.
And I'd start fidgeting and be like, I think I should sit on the floor, or maybe I should go sit somewhere. So on Wednesday, the 10th of June is when I could not get out of bed. It was impossible. I was in so much pain. My neck was so stiff. My head was banging. And now I'm like, this is actually serious sickness.
Yeah.
So I was in and out of bed like twice. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, I need to see a doctor. So I went, saw the doctor that Wednesday, and I was told it's bacterial infection. I'm like, in 5 days, I'll be good.
Fine. And after 5 days, you're not fine. I'm going to come back to that. Let me take a short break. And 5 days later, she was still not well, and a long journey in and out of hospitals began. That and more coming up shortly. Welcome back. We're so glad that you're still here with us. Now, before the break, we were getting to know Eve better, and she was telling us about her first trip to hospital. When the doctor said it's an infection, 5 days later, you should be fine. 5 days later, what happened?
5 days or 3 days later, I wake up and my eyes are glassy, and I'm thinking, wait, I should be getting better, not worse. And my headaches haven't gone. I haven't been able to sleep. So literally I'm exhausted. I'm lethargic. I'm in pain and I can't see. So that just threw me off the radar completely. And I remember melting down. And
when you couldn't see, like what
I thought it was thinking? A dream. So I went back to sleep. I was like, no, wrong door. So I went back to sleep. I woke up and I'm like, this is for real. So that had been like that for like till August, September. I was discharged. I went into hospital on the 17th. I was admitted on the 17th. I was discharged, I think, on the 29th of July. So this is like 2 months later.
Yes. Let me take you back 2 months before. So you go to bed, you're thinking it's a dream. You wake up, you still can't see.
So it's glassy.
So when you can't see, what does that mean?
It's glassy. It's I can see you. I can see your figure.
Yes.
But I can't see details.
Okay.
I can't tell you, like, if you have like black earrings, I won't tell what earrings you're wearing. I could just tell your figure, your clothes, if they're bright colored. I can see your eyes. And nose.
So what did that mean? Could you easily dress yourself?
I was okay. It's just I'm not seeing HD.
But you're thinking it will get better.
Yes. And it kept getting worse because at that particular day I could still see text, but it was really painful to look at text. Then eventually I could not see text at all. I could see the screen is white, but I can't tell the details on the phone.
Did it ever occur to you that maybe I might not be able to see ever again?
At that point, no. Okay. I'm thinking the headaches must be the ones causing this, so I need to know what's going on with me.
Again, because when we hear someone is blind, a lot of times we assume they were born blind. So this will pass.
So and it's not even that. It's I'm seeing blurry and I have headaches, so I'm thinking I'll get better.
Once the headaches go.
Because we need to know what the headaches are about. So you feel like it's something that's pressing on something, so if we remove it, things will get better.
So you're thinking it's just a symptom of something.
So now September comes in and everything starts getting dimmer. And I was like, no, something is wrong. Either my house has become darker or something is wrong. So I told my neurologist. He said you should check with your ophthalmologist to see if there's any problem from the eyesight. So when I went to see, finally when I got an ophthalmologist that was able to check up on my eyes, I first went to Lions and they said the process is irreversible because the damage has already been done on the optic nerve. So I'm like, okay, that's the first time I actually thought this is never going to get better. And I remember sitting back at the reception area and I just cried. I was like, wow. Now my ophthalmologist, the next one I went to see was at Kenyatta, called Dr. Nyamai. And she was like, I think it could be optic neurosis again. So they put me on steroids, and then after some time, after 3 days, nothing improved. So she talked to my neurologist and they suggested I go for surgery to put in a shunt in my brain so that the pressure that was building, it wasn't dissolving as fast as they thought it would with the pressure meds.
Yeah.
So I was admitted now at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. I did the surgery on October 3rd, and still the holes were closing in. So by the time I'm being discharged, when I was admitted, I could pay. I did my own transaction. I paid for my admission.
Yes, yeah.
But by the time I'm being discharged, I couldn't see my phone.
Wow.
So I couldn't pay for someone else had to do it. I could still see bright colors, but I couldn't tell details anymore. And in 2 weeks after that, I couldn't see color at all. I could just see figures.
Yeah.
And by the end of 2 weeks, I could just see shadows. And like 2 weeks after that, I could not see.
That's around November.
Yes. I cannot see anything at all. I can't say if you've passed. I'll just feel the wind or your figure, but I won't tell who or what just passed. Yeah.
And then, so after that, when did it finally hit you that, you know what, I've completely lost my sight? What happened that you realized, okay, now I've lost my sight, and what should I do next?
You wake up every morning, and once the holes start closing in, it started hitting me that I'm losing my sight, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like maybe there are things I need to do before I completely lose my sight?
I tried that in September before going to hospital.
Yeah.
I was trying to watch as many series as possible, but they only have 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, but with time, I just let go.
Yeah.
And now when it's coming into November, between October and November, I saw everything literally disappearing. And that's when it hit me that I'm actually going to lose my sight completely. I begged to die so many times. I would wake up and I'm like, why am I alive? I thought we agreed yesterday I should have died.
Yeah.
And then I'd be awake. So I was I was just existing for some time. I knew my ophthalmologist had advised that I go to the rehab center, but I wasn't ready.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even think I want to go somewhere for someone to tell me everything will be okay, because everything will not be okay. My life is changing.
The rehab center, is it for counseling or
no,
even retraining of how?
Well, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I joined it in June this year, 2021. And I thought they're going to take me through therapy, through learning Braille, through
because you sort of have to learn how to do everything all over again.
But that's the impression.
Yes.
But you go there and there's nothing. It's just learning Braille and learning how to walk with a white cane, which is basically instinct, and computer packages, which it's not really, they don't put emphasis on it.
Yes.
So I feel like, yes, it's put in it's like the way education system is set up in Kenya.
Yeah.
You have to go to primary school, then you go to secondary school. It's not the quality of education.
Yes.
It's you have to finish for you to get somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
So even rehab is just rehab for the sake of saying you went to rehab, but it's not really offering people a chance at a new start with a new start of life as a blind person.
Yeah.
The only thing probably I've gained from that is basic Braille, which I won't use. Even the computer packages, I think I can listen to a YouTube video and just figure it out. Yeah. But the therapy, no.
Having going blind, how has it changed you and your life and your perspective even of life?
First thing is you stop worrying about small things.
Yes.
Like how people look.
Yeah.
You start treating people the way they treat you. It's how they make you feel. It's not how they look. Yeah. And you're more accommodative of people. I feel like I was a snob.
Yes.
But there are people now, I'm not going into a room and talking to people based on how they look.
Yes.
It's based on what kind of aura or what kind of vibes are they giving you, you know.
So in a way, you're actually seeing people for who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not for what you look like.
Yeah.
It's also made me think of the basic human instinct is to survive. And it's just those things that make life better.
Yes.
It's the kindness, it's the care. It's I can wake up in the morning and listen to music and go to bed at night and I'm okay. It's the simple courtesy you give someone. And it's the people who've shown me so much love are the ones, it's not about the money they're giving me. It's about the support. Like, Eve, what do you want to do? Today I want to go to the supermarket. I don't have the money. Okay, fine. Let's just go buy this today because this is what we can afford. You know, it's helped me appreciate my friends in a very big way. The ones who've supported me through this journey, you know. It's also made me, I don't know, love more. And not take things for granted, because now I'm not able to do some things and I'm like, why are we always fretting about the big stuff? It's always, oh, I need to do this ASAP. I'm like, ASAP, you can die. How is that ASAP going to help you? Is it, what do you take care of the most? It's your health. The minute your health goes off, everything else doesn't matter. And I watched my friends, the ones I was with at the ward for like those 6 weeks. Most of them didn't make it. It's not even about the blindness, it's also just health. If you're healthy, you're peaceful, everything else will fall into place. You don't need the big mansion, because right now I don't care how big this room is, but does it serve the purpose? Does it give me the warmth that I need for me to prosper? Then that is what works.
And what keeps you going?
Good music, good food, audiobooks, and good vibes from people, from family, from friends. And also now the thing that is also keeping me going is my YouTube channel, because I hope for it to grow. I don't have the money for it, but there are people who are offering to help me pro bono for now. But I would hope for that to grow to levels of talking about visual impairedness, not just in Kenya, not just in the city, even in the rural areas, because the less fortunate are the ones who suffer the most. They can't speak out about their illnesses. Most people, when they lose their sight in Ushago, they go back home and become that furniture. Because they don't know about rehab, and even rehab is not going to offer them any solutions. So what do they do with their lives after that? They go back home and sit and wake up, eat, sleep. Wake up, eat, sleep, you know. That's it.
Thank you so much, Eve, for joining us today and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it from our guest today. Eve lost her eyesight. But listening to her, you get to see that her vision for life became bigger. See you next time.